beast that prevented her from expressing the deep caring she'd felt in any relationship with a man, isolating her from love, romantic or otherwise. Now, driving through nature's fury, she felt oddly isolated again. It was suddenly clear that her decision to continue into the dark clouds had been a mistake. As if hearing and understanding that I had played unfairly with her, the storm suddenly eased. She could see the road again. See, now that wasn't so bad. Time to retreat to the nearest overcrowded motel to wait out the storm with the rest of the traveling public. She could even see the signs now, and the green one she passed said that the turnoff to Summerville was in 5 miles, exit 354. 100 yards farther, a blue sign indicated that there were no services at this exit. Freak storm, flash floods. Truth be told, it was all a bit exciting. As long as the storm didn't delay her, she kind of liked the idea of... Her headlights hit a vehicle on the road ahead. Like a wraith, the cockeyed beast glared at her through the rainy night, unmoving, dead on the road, a pickup truck. She slammed her foot on the brake. The Accord's rear wheels lost traction on the wet pavement and slid around to her left. She gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Her headlights flashed past the scrub oak lining the road. For an instant, Wendy thought the car might roll, but the wet asphalt kept the Accord's wheels from catching and throwing her over. Unfortunately, the slick surface also prevented the tires from stopping her car before it crashed into the pickup. Wendy jerked forward, allowing her forearms to absorb most of the impact. Steam hissed out from under her hood, rain splattered, but Wendy was unhurt, apart from maybe a bruise or two. She sat still, collecting herself. Oddly enough, the airbags hadn't deployed. Maybe it was the angle. She hit the other vehicle's front bumper in a full slide, so that her left front fender had taken the brunt of the impact before becoming wedged under the grill. She picked up her cell phone and snapped it open. No service. No service for more than half an hour now. She tried the door. It squealed some, then opened easily before striking the smallish pickup, which she now saw was green. She climbed out, hardly noticing the rain. The pickup was missing its right front wheel and sat on the inner guts of the brake contraption, which explained the tire she now saw on the road. Her eyes returned to the pickup's door. The side window was shattered. The front windshield seemed intact, except for 2 round holes punched through on the driver's side. Bullet holes. Of course, she couldn't be sure they were bullet holes, but it was the first thought to cross her mind, and since it had done so, she could hardly consider that mere debris had punched those 2 perfect circles through the glass. Someone had shot at the driver. Wendy jerked her head around for signs of another car or a shooter. Nothing she could see, but that didn't mean they weren't out there. For a moment she stood glued to the pavement, mind divided between the drenching she was receiving from the rain and those 2 bullet holes. She remembered the pistol in the console compartment between her Accord's front seats. Louise had talked her into buying it long ago, when they'd first met at the shelter. Wendy had never received the training she'd intended to, nor had she ever fired the gun, but there it lay, and if there was ever a time for it. She flung the Accord's door wide and ducked inside. Finding and dislodging the black pistol case from between the seats proved a slippery, knuckle-burning task with wet fingers. Yet she managed to wrench it out. She disengaged the sliding mechanism that opened the case, snatched out the cold steel weapon, and fumbled, trying to remember what the safety looked like. Meanwhile, her butt, which was still sticking out in the rain, was taking a bath. The gun slipped from her hands and thudded on the floor mat. She swore and reached for it, and found the trigger, and would have blown a hole in the car if the safety had been off. Thank God for safeties. Now she found the safety and disengaged it. However unfamiliar she was with guns, Wendy was no idiot. Neither was she anything similar to gutless. Whoever was in the truck might still be alive, possibly even injured, and out here in this storm, and Wendy was the only one who could help. Sniper lurking or not, she would never abandon anyone in need. Wendy turned the key in the Accord's ignition. The car purred to life. It was still steaming through the hood, but at least it ran. She took a calming breath, then slipped back out of the car and hurried around to the truck's passenger door, staying low. With a last look around the deserted highway, keeping the gun in both hands down low the way she'd often seen such weapons wielded on the big screen, she poked her head up and looked through the passenger window. Empty. She stood up for a better look. The driver